Hey everyone, hope you're having another amazing week. If you're a physician or an entrepreneur, even a parent, maybe like me, you're all three, you probably said some version of this recently, I just don't have time. That's what I used to say too, but the truth is, I think I found out I did have time. I just wasn't using it in a way that reflected what actually mattered to me. In this episode, I want to talk about how I use a simple tool called the Eisenhower Matrix, along with some real world tech and things like virtual assistants and AI to literally buy back time every single day. So stay tuned. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Passive Income MD podcast, where we talk about creating your ideal life through multiple streams of income. If you enjoy hearing about this stuff, make sure to hit subscribe. Now let's get on with the show.
Okay, everyone, I probably know how you're feeling. I mean, I feel that way too. I feel sometimes just overwhelmed, like I'm overbooked, like overcommitted. I'm, especially as a physician, we're juggling patient care, all the charting, managing phone calls. Maybe you're also trying to invest in real estate, manage a business, manage a practice, and then still you're trying to be present for your family at the end of the day. And I think the worst part of all this busyness, it's that feeling that no matter how hard we work, you just never catch up, or you always feel a little behind. And I don't know if you can relate to that, but for most people, the default response to all that is, okay, I need to work harder. I need to grind more. I'll figure it out eventually. And I think as physicians, we're so good at that. We can put our heads down. We just work harder. We've done it our whole lives and we're used to that. But what if I told you that you don't actually have a time deficit? You just have a filtering problem, like a triage problem. Like you're busy, but that doesn't mean you're busy with the right things. And definitely as life goes on, it just seems like more things get piled on. Now, I was stuck in that moment too, and I was stuck in that mindset until I started learning about something called the Eisenhower Matrix. This is actually a way of, it's a tool. It's a tool that was created by President Eisenhower that helps categorize tasks into 4 distinct boxes. Number 1, it's the urgent and important. So think about a matrix where there's a box and it's split into 4 quadrants. On the x-axis, it goes from urgent to not urgent. And then on the y-axis, it goes from not important to important. So you end up with these 4 boxes. It's either urgent and important. It's either important, but not urgent. It's either urgent, but not important, or not urgent and not important. So there's those 4 boxes. Again, it just helps you categorize tasks from whether they're urgent or important or neither of those things. And so I think most physicians end up being in boxes 1 and 3, where we are usually dealing with things that are urgent and important, that we have to put out fires constantly. We're reacting to everything, doing stuff as they come, or they're usually dealing with things that are urgent, but not important, that you're, again, reacting to things that you know need to get done, but you probably shouldn't be doing those things. Now, there's this other box, right? The other one that we talked about where it's important, but not urgent. That's where I think a lot of the real magic happens. That's where we learn about ways to create passive income, to learn about investing. We enjoy time with our family. We go on date night with our spouses. We start thinking strategically about what our life wants to, what we want. It's where we think strategically about what we want our lives to look like. It's we get to prioritize things that matter to us, like health and rest, or you get to build that side hustle. And we usually don't get to that box because we're taking care of things that are urgent and important, or taking care of things that are just urgent but not important. So when I hit that wall and I was feeling like there's just too many things to do, I just can't get to it. What I ended up doing was I just did a brain dump. I took a list of everything that I think I need to do or take care of that's on my mind. I just listed it on one spreadsheet. I just typed it. I just typed out every little thing that I could think about doing. Maybe it was about calling an electrician to fix one of the outlets in my house, calling a handyman to put up some shelves. I need to make a phone call to my CPA and ask them about something. I needed to go to the post office to send some packages off. Whatever it was, I just listed it all down. And it was amazing how many things came out of my mind. And and I think if you did the same, it'd be incredible to see that there's so much floating in there, but it's so therapeutic in a way to see that on paper. Hey everyone, want to take a moment to talk about a company called Lightstone Direct. In fact, they're a platform that gives qualified investors like you and me access to the same multifamily and industrial real estate opportunities pursued by the larger company, Lightstone. They're a $12 billion real estate firm with more than 4 decades of experience. What makes them different is something called alignment. We talk about that a ton. They co-invest more than 20% of their own capital in every deal, so you're investing alongside them, not just through them. So if you're a physician looking to diversify beyond Wall Street, and you want institutional quality, that means serious quality real estate exposure, especially in areas like industrial, which is all the rage these days, without having to find or manage properties yourself, take a look at Lightstone Direct. You can learn more about current opportunities. To register to find out more at lightstonedirect.com/PIMD. That's lightstonedirect.com/PIMD.
Hey everyone, I have a question for you. What if there was a way to make your money work for you instead of the other way around? Let me ask you, are you looking for a way to create passive income and secure your financial future? Or maybe you've stayed away from real estate because you don't have time to be a landlord. Then I want to introduce you to Passive Real Estate Academy. It's the revolutionary platform that we created that teaches you how to invest in real estate passively with little or no effort on your part. In just 4 weeks, our comprehensive course will teach you everything you need to know about passive real estate investing and help build that confidence in you so that you know that you're making a great investment choice. We created this course for busy people like you, and we're going to guide you from every step of the way, from understanding even the most basic information to understanding the jargon and understanding underwriting so you can make sure that you're making a great investment, that you're maximizing your returns and minimizing your mistakes. And the best part, you can do this all from the comfort of your own home with absolutely no prior experience required. So it's time to prepare yourself and learn so that you can be ready for these deals that you see, because the time is coming. So don't let the demands of your job or the current economic climate dictate your financial future. So join Passive Real Estate Academy and build that confidence to know that you're making a great investment when it comes to syndications and funds. So visit our website at passiverealestateacademy.com to learn more and take your next step to financial freedom. Now back to the show.
Then what I was able to do was to put it into those 4 categories. And if you go to the podcast notes, we have an Eisenhower Matrix example for you right there. We'll have that there. Or you can just go ahead and Google it, Eisenhower Matrix. But either way, you get to put in those 4 categories, and then you start to figure out what you do with each of those. Now, if it's urgent and important, you do it now. You take care of it. It's the fires you got to put out that only you can put out. Now, if it's important, but not urgent, those things we talked about, you want to just schedule those, put those on your calendar so you know you can get to those. Now, if it's urgent, but not important, so you can probably delegate that. We'll talk about it. And if it's not urgent and not important, you should get rid of it out of your lives. But we still spend a ton of time doing those things. So I know for a lot of you, let's talk about delegation. That's not an easy thing to do. I mean, the first time someone suggested that I hire a virtual assistant, I kind of laughed at them. I said, well, I don't even know if I could find enough things for them to do. I don't know if I'm that busy. I mean, it's almost easier to do it myself, or it'd take longer to train them. But the reality was I was spending so much time. Once I started doing a little bit of a time audit, I realized I was scheduling phone calls. I was doing a lot of research on either software or travel. And for me, with some of my businesses, I was doing things like formatting and responding to non-important emails. I mean, that's not high leverage work. That's work that you could find someone to do for under $10 an hour. And when somebody put it in this context and they asked me, like, how much is your time worth? Of course, I related to what I was making at the hospital at the very least. And then I started realizing that I was doing all of this low level work, at least for myself, that somebody else could do, that they could make a good living, that they probably will do better than I would. And it'll be a win for all around. I started thinking, maybe I should give this a shot. So I started small. I hired a part-time VA for about 10 hours a week. And the first thing I did was to manage my inbox and my calendar. Now, I gave them access to an email address that didn't contain like all of my really sensitive information. It was more of my business address. And so I started having them manage that. Then they started managing my calls and my calendars to fit that in, the puzzle and the matrix of my calendar and schedule. And I started realizing they did a great job. And I had to learn how to actually ultimately delegate and do a better job. But when I started realizing that it started saving half an hour here, another hour here, I started getting kind of obsessed with it. I started saying, what else can they do? So I had them do research for me, started having them fill out certain forms that I need to fill out, started having them do different things in my business that would save me time. And here's the rule that I end up using. If someone can do it about 75 to 80% as well as me, as I could do it, then I just try to figure out a way to delegate it. Like, you don't need a huge team. I now have a full-time VA and they save me so much time per week. And it's amazing the things that you'll find for them to do as you get busier and busier. Now, that's one thing you can do. I think every physician should have a VA, but of course, we should all talk about AI. Honestly, that's like having an employee that never sleeps and is always available to you. I typically use ChatGPT, but I also use Claude as well. And I use them for just about anything right now. What I did was I actually now take that entire list that I talked about before, and I have it put it in the categories for me, and then ask it how I can better delegate, create systems for each of these things. And it's incredible to really pair those things together and leverage those things. And it's incredible. Of course, it takes a little bit of time to figure out how to do the prompting, how to figure out to put in the right context. But once you do that and build that together, utilizing VAs and using AI, it's incredible the results you get. And you can use it to leverage your time. In fact, you buy back your time in a significant way. Having that second brain, having somebody control even your second brain, if that's the better way to do it, all of a sudden it feels like a weight's lifted off your shoulder. Like you have so much more available time. Of course, you're going to find yourself filling it with other things. You get to then fill that with time with your family, doing things that you enjoy, maybe hitting the golf range, going for a run, taking that art class, whatever it is. How much would that be worth to you? Again, all of us, I believe, should value our time significantly. As physicians, I definitely believe we should value it for over $1,000 an hour. So every time you're doing something, you have to think, is it worth the time that you're essentially paying yourself to do this? Because if there's somebody else who could do it more affordably, probably do it better than you in some ways, or in a way that allows you to free up your creativity, your energy for other things, then it's totally worth it. And so let me ask you, what would you do with an extra 30 minutes a day? What would you do with an extra 5 hours a week? How could you feel that? I bet you all of us could take a moment here and think about it. Would you spend it with your kids? Would you sleep a little more? Would you be able to use it to think about a business idea or how to invest better in real estate? Would you read that book that's been sitting on your coffee table for a while? I think we all know it's cliche. Time is our most precious resource. But what are you doing to leverage that time the best possible? We have all the resources now available to us to do more of that, to do better. If you use the right tools, the right system, and then let go of the idea that only I can do it, then your life begins to change. So I have a challenge for you this week. Maybe pick one thing to delete, one thing you don't need to do at all that you're wasting your time on. Maybe pick one thing that you can delegate and figure out how to make that happen. And then pick one thing that you can also automate. Maybe it's that bill that you pay. Maybe it's that phone call that you have every week. You can now have AI automate an email for you every single week. I'd love to know what that is for you. Send us a response. I just know that when physicians reclaim their time, even if it's a small amount, they feel more in control. They feel better about their lives, and you show up better at work, at home, and that's an incredible thing. Hope this has been helpful. Have an amazing week, and let's talk again soon.
Enjoy the show? Let me know by dropping a review in the podcast app you're listening to us in. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit subscribe. Join thousands of physicians who are also on this journey to creating their ideal lives through multiple streams of income. Learn more at our website, passiveincomemd.com. Thanks again for allowing me to be a part of your journey. See you next time.